We interrupt whatever podcast you're listening to for this special edition Krypton report with special guests, Capes and Lunatics crossover. It is I, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, who's missing his sidekick, the Superman of Red, because he spent a long day fighting crime and saving people. So I had to bring in some backup. I got my man Phil, podcasting strong for 11 years here from Capes and Lunatics. Hello, Phil.
Hello, what's up?
And then, of course, I got my special guest, Mr. Levi, the round Superman himself. Always great to chat with.
Happy to be back. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has. But Levi knows he has an open invitation. He just sometimes gets busy with that thing called life. So we are talking Peacemaker, season 2. And let's see. As of this recording, it's Friday. It ended yesterday on Thursday, and I've just kind of been processing it. Today's Saturday. See, I don't even know what day it is anymore. I saw Phil's reaction. We were going to record on Friday.
I was like, damn, I missed work today.
I missed a whole day. Yeah. See, it's this whole new thing with Solomon moving to homeschooling and my new position's remote. So I work from home most of the time. And it's throwing me off. I don't know which way's up anymore, fellas. But Peacemaker season 2. Let's start here. Just overall thoughts, liked it, didn't like it, what worked for season 1. We'll start with Phil.
I liked this season. I mean, I liked the first season. I liked this season maybe a little more just because it was more. You got more to the emotions of everyone and friendships and everything. And not to skip ahead, but I mean, I pretty much enjoyed the whole thing except how they left it at the end.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about this. So this is going to be pretty much, once we hit season 2, everyone, it's going to be a spoiler-filled discussion. Because I messaged Phil last night, or no, it was the Friday morning when he messaged me, and I was like, I felt flat and felt sad by the ending and not the way I wanted. Levi, your thoughts on season 1, just overall going into season 2?
I love season 1. Season 1's my sense of humor and I don't want to say the action because I just rewatched season 1 right before season 2 came out, and it's not as action packed as I remember it, but it's got enough action to keep me happy. So I love season 1. I liked season 2.
I have probably watched season 1 5 times now, because I watched it, and I watched it like a year later, and then I watched it, and then I decided to take the undertaking of editing season 1 to something that my kids could watch.
Well, did you guys enjoy that 5 minutes?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I took out the explicit sexual dialogue stuff that they wouldn't understand. The F-bombs they hear because rest her beautiful soul. My sister-in-law had a very loose tongue. And so they hear that and heard that, and sometimes I do too because it makes my kids laugh profusely.
And there was a sex scene at the beginning of the first episode of season 1.
Yep, cut that. It's fun to edit. Like back when I made that edit of Deadpool for you, Phil.
Oh yeah, back when Luca was little.
And so I've rewatched it to do that, and now I'm rewatching it again with the kids in my edited form because, drum roll, it's almost Halloween, and guess what Selah's being for Halloween? Peacemaker.
Really?
Yes. So when I've gotten all the stuff together for her costume, and it was her idea too, because she was like, I want to be Peacemaker. I was like, all right. She loves John Cena. So
really?
Yeah. I was like, all right, Selah. All right.
She loves wrestling? Or she just likes his acting?
She likes his acting, and every now and then, if he's wrestling, she'll check it out. It's just funny.
She knows his final match is in December, right?
I haven't told her.
Oh, okay.
But it's just I really like season 1. It grew on me. The first time I watched it, I was like, okay. I think that, and I've said that before, I think sometimes it takes a second watch to really get some of James Gunn's stuff. I planned on rewatching this whole season now that it's over, just like kind of maybe like straight through over like a day or two. Because it really wouldn't be that long because these episodes were relatively short. There's only a couple of them that were like 40 minutes. The rest were in the late 30s. And so I was really excited about season 2, you know? And with it being the whole continuity thing is just kind of fun, but you know, basically, like I said all along, everything in season 1 pretty much was canon, but the appearance of the Justice League. And I've listened to James Gunn do his podcast and talk about it. Then, of course, he did that thing where he changed that Justice League to the Justice Gang scene to kind of clear it up. And I was hoping that like they would just go ahead and edit it on the season 1. So if someone were to watch season 1, it would be the Justice Gang scene and not the Justice League scene, just to make it smoother for people coming to it.
I wondered if they were going to do that, but nope.
My other thought is, you know, he this is following Superman, right? So this is like the next part of the DC universe. And like I even screenshot for James and Levi, it was an ad for HBO Max saying, if you like Superman, check out the next chapter of the DC universe. And I'm kind of like, I like Peacemaker, but it's not what I would really be promoting as a follow-up to Superman.
Because it's not a family show.
It's not accessible to everybody. Like it's kind of that outlier, you know, like, oh yeah. So like setting up major things in Peacemaker that's going to play out in the DC universe, I think is kind of weird when it comes to the fact that so much of it is, you know, stuff that the normal person's not going to want to see. And the humor is not there and might actually be appalled by it, you know, coming off Superman and being like, this is horrible. Like,
or it's like, say you pay off the ending of season 2 in like the next Superman movie, you know, there's gonna be kids there who'll be like, who's that guy? You know, what's he doing here? You know, what's going on?
Yeah. I mean, the Peacemaker cameo was great in Superman when he's on the TV and they're like, what are you talking about, Chris? He's like, well, you know, like that was great. But having huge threads in Peacemaker now, I don't know if you guys saw this, and I've yet to see it. It's not on cable, but somehow they did do an edit of Peacemaker for TNT. And I saw it edited, like, check out Peacemaker on TNT. And I'm very curious to watch what that looks like.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of it's probably language, and they probably just, you know, mute the sound because they used to. Oh God, what channel was that? Was it A&E's? One of them. They used to like air The Sopranos.
Yeah, and
it was like an edited version.
And I'm so curious because if they're probably going to do that with season 2 as well, you know. But overall, just like if you were to give season 2, because I've tried to watch the individual episodes again, and I couldn't do it. Like none of them really hooked me in enough. I really want to watch the episode again. And that's what I'm thinking. If I sit down and watch it all, maybe something else will click in it for me. But I don't know. Thoughts? Like I give it right now as like, I think the acting was great, the storytelling was great, but just like kind of the enjoyment overall, I give it a B+, A-. I think B+ is where I'm at with it. Because to me, sometimes the best is like, does it have rewatchability? And I don't know if season 2 has the rewatchability that season 1 does.
Well, why are you saying that? Is it because of the story, or is it just because, okay, I see the twist coming? Or
I think it's part of the story and part of just the pacing. Like this season felt to me more like a movie that was just kind of chopped up because I feel like there's certain elements that really drug in this season. and then we kind of rush to the end.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes of this season kind of drug it. We really don't get to the other universe until what, the end of 2?
He kills himself at the end of episode 1.
Yeah.
And then, we have these long scenes of him and Vigilante like dismembering the other Chris's body, and I'm like, okay, they really cut down Vigilante's role. And then as we go, there's certain character beats and with certain characters like Rick Flag that I would have liked to have seen more time spent on. So when we get to the last episode, I'm like, compared to wasting time like watching Vigilante and Peacemaker cut up Peacemaker 2
in an orgy.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is having that scene in the first episode is really like, holy crap. Like, it just hits people like, hey, all right, this is the new DC thing after Superman. Let's watch this. And then boom, James Cole's house on the weekend. Like, what are you gonna do? But I don't know what just broad thoughts, Levi. Just how are you feeling on it?
I mean, if you gave it a grade, I'll give it a grade. I gave it a C+. It's, to me, and I heard Gunn say this, season 1's about Peacemaker, season 2 is about Chris Smith,
which is fine.
And I enjoyed it. I think, like you, for me, it dragged a little bit. I think episodes 5 through the finale are much tighter and much more entertaining. But other than the scene on Earth, called Earth X, where he takes out the freedom fighters, do we see him be Peacemaker at all this year? Like, actually doing anything that made us like the character enough in Suicide Squad to get him his own show? And that, for me, is kind of where the season fell a bit flat.
Yeah, we didn't have the, like, him doing... I mean, like, we get the scene of him at the end flying with his jetpack with his dad and brother. But we don't get a lot of, like, him and, it is... I was thinking about this the other day. This is the Empire Strikes Back. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the Peacemaker season 1, because you got to look at these shows like this are done, but they're basically like long form movie telling. Each season's kind of like a movie, just elongated. So season 1 is, regular old Star Wars. It could have been one and done. Okay. And then this is your Empire Strikes Back. So where is our Return of the Jedi?
I was gonna say that makes it even weirder, since they said, there's no plans for a season 3 and they're gonna pay all this stuff off elsewhere.
And I feel like that's wrong, to pay off like a lot of this elsewhere and to not give Peacemaker a season 3, because you've really invested. I mean, James Gunn took these D-list, E-list characters. Like, I would call Peacemaker a D-list character, and then like Economos, Harcourt, Sasha Bordeaux, Judo Master, all E-list characters. And Vigilante, I guess, would be D-list. All these characters that are just there that nobody cares about. And he elevated them to like the forefront of DC, and not giving them a good solid third season just focused on them. It feels kind of wrong.
I wonder if it's like a catch-20. It's like I don't know, like a red herring or something, where it's like, we're going to get another season of something, but it's not going to be called Peacemaker.
Well, see, I got
Checkmate series,
right.
Mm-hmm.
That was another one of my thoughts. Was if it just evolves into like Peacemaker season 3 is actually Checkmate. So let's get into the show. Some of my favorite parts, was dealing with. I love the idea they brought in Rick Flag Sr. and made Joel Kinnaman Rick Flag Jr., that was great. I think that was, I love the episode where we see him dealing with stuff. And you know, we didn't get anything really clear cut from Creature Commandos. You know, that he talked about some cameos that were going to be in this season. And I was hoping that we'd get to see at least one person from Creature Commandos other than just Flag appear. Because like there is like the one comment about him being in the hospital for his back. But other than that, there's no other Creature Commando tie-ins.
That always seems like a weird, like a tricky thing to tie stuff in where one's live action and one's animation.
And it kind of bothered me but you kind of need that because that was his last time out where he was just working for Waller before he took over Argus. Because you notice like the first thing he wanted to do when he took over Argus was find out what actually happened to his son.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because of how the season ends and the episode where he has Chris Smith in custody, I think I needed some more from Rick Flag to really see his downward spiral. And I think I really would have appreciated a flashback of him and his son interacting together.
Mm-hmm. And the whole thing is like, for me, for him taking over for Waller and everything up through the finale, it's like, did he even want this job for any other reason than to find out who killed his son and get revenge on whoever killed his son?
Right. Exactly. Now,
I read something with Gunn that I read before the finale, and he talked about how people from Creature Commandos view Rick Flag as a protagonist, even though he's really the catalyst for everything that went wrong in Creature Commandos, and that people need to stop viewing him as a good guy. That he's like, I've never come out and said Rick Flag Sr. is a good guy.
Right. I
think for me, the part that disconnects is we see him through most of the season. His motivation's pretty clear. He wants to find Peacemaker to get revenge for his son. And then we get to the finale, and he is giggling with Lex Luthor henchmen to toss people into a alternate Earth prison. And it's like, where... I don't think he's a good guy, but like it's a big jump from wanting revenge for your son to tossing people into another dimension.
You know, making the deal with the devil. Now, my buddy Brian from Gravely Amusing, he couldn't be here. He did send me his thoughts, and he said, I wonder if something's up with Flag, where either it's not really Rick Flag or something because of how he changes so much. And because we have the scene where she says, Hardcore says, Rick, and he goes, huh? And he kind of forget that, you know, and the way he was treating Sasha and, you know, the way he just fell so much into all of Luthor's cronies.
Yeah, I had that same thought. I'm like, is this somehow Lex?
And that was like, or is it Lex Luthor in some sort, like he switched places with Rick?
Yeah.
And he's using it, you know, to his own advantage. Okay, we'll see. But I really feel like that flashback between Rick Flag Sr. and Rick Flag Jr. would have been great. Even if you didn't have the actors to do it together, if you would have filmed a scene, after which episode was it, where we get the flashback right before the Suicide Squad, where Rick Flag Jr. wakes up. We'll call him Ricky to make it easy. Ricky wakes up and he's in bed with Hardcore, and you know he's got to get back. He's got to get to Waller. If he would have like gotten a phone call from his dad, and you could have like had him on the phone with his dad, film Joel Kinnaman that day, and then when you had Frank Grillo film the other part, and then you know just edit it together, them on the phone together, just to kind of get something with them together. You know,
I was waiting for a scene with Frank Grillo on Earth X, and you know, running into this version of his son.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just like driving it more crazy.
I was just glad that it wasn't like I saw someone post that is this going to be that Rick Flag is going to be looking for a version of his son out there on another Earth to bring? I was like, please don't do that, because that's the Spider-Verse plot. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not do that. You know.
But yeah, I mean, just the further along it was this really Lex Luthor. I mean, it's like even in the finale, weren't they just like, oh yeah, you went from being against Luthor's idea to like running his whole playbook and stuff.
Exactly. The Secretary of Defense calls him out, like, this is Luthor. Instead of having a pocket dimension for a prison, he has an Earth to drop the people on. And can we please get a clear definition of what metahuman is?
Yeah, it's so weird. It seems like they term it anyone with powers, although meanwhile, Peacemaker isn't a metahuman, but
Peacemaker is not a metahuman. Is Sasha Bordeaux considered one because she's a cyborg? Superman, they call him a metahuman, but he's an alien.
Yeah, because in the comics back in the day, it was just people with a metagene. But yeah, now it seems like in the movies, it's anyone with any kind of powers.
And the other thing that with them doing Salvation, we're jumping all over the place, but who cares? With them doing Salvation, I got thinking today, like, we don't even know how many characters are in this universe yet. So how are you going to introduce a place to put all these metahumans and villains? Like, they drop Belle Reve, they drop Blackgate, they drop Arkham, but it's not like we've had any of these characters to we can see them get locked up. Like, we're have to introduce all these evil metahumans, to really feel like we know this world before we put them in Salvation.
Well, again, it's like how long until we get back to this? We got a Supergirl movie, we got the Lanterns TV series.
So we're probably not going to get back to this till 2027.
Hopefully,
with Man of Tomorrow, because that's going to pick up the threads here.
I was going to say, all right, you ready to have your mind blown? The dimension where Chris Smith is at, or whatever it is. What if that's like a bottle on Brainiac's ship?
Dude, I would love that. I need some Brainiac. Like,
they dropped some subtle hints. There was a Happerson said this technology is beyond anything terrestrial.
Yep.
And I think in the episode before that, there was what do you say? Luthor's vibrated on the tracking his portals, and this one was stable. It had no tremor. So it's definitely Brainiac's the easy answer.
And it would be smart to bring in Brainiac for things. So James going to talk about cameos in this season, and the big cameo was Lex, and then he talked about more cameos. And when the finale started and there was Otis, I was like, sweet, Otis, that's the big cameo. And I was pretty much right. Nobody really cared that Foxy Shazam cameoed. As much as
it seems like Happerson was the big cameo, although I think James Gunn said that's one of his buddies. So
yeah, it's one of his best friends. And I'm like, that's fine. Like, Happerson, like, it's cool to have that connective tissue, right? But like, I don't really need Sidney Happerson to be a big character.
He was plot device so Rick Flag could operate the portal.
Exactly. And then I'd prefer more of Otisberg, but I did not really see the twist coming that they formed Checkmate. That's probably my biggest surprise from the finale. I loved that the boat that they kept talking about throughout the season between Harcourt and Chris Smith was just them kissing, like, and not what everyone else was like. They had relations. I preferred it that way because I think it meant more to the characters. But
well, yeah, because sometimes they talk about, oh yeah, he's more like a 12 or 13-year-old than like a grown man, and
he's just like, I think Leota said it best, when Chris is being Chris and thinking for himself, we see how he truly is. But when he's trying to do what other people want, that's when he fails and doesn't succeed. When he killed, like she said, you killed Rick Flag because Waller told her to, and even though
And she also said, "Oh, you're big and dumb, but I know you love me."
Yeah. She brought her A game this season. Like I loved her in season 1. I love her in season 2. Like she really is just an amazing character.
I think everybody stepped up their game in the cast, but again, it's her. She definitely did. Cena, I didn't think. I mean, episode 7.
Yeah. When he yells when they're on top of Keith, man,
Mm-hmm.
you buy that. I mean, just period. Like he brought it.
If
It's like,
if there's only one episode this season I think is rewatchable, it's that episode 7.
yes, I agree. My favorite part with Vigilante and all of his drug money was the best.
Can't spend that as a blood curse.
And they're all like shoving it in their pants. Like, but I would have liked to have known a little bit more of like why Vigilante's so mean to his mom. Like, he got pushed, I think, to the back burner this season. Like, and it just kind of was bummed. And then, so the big thing is we're on Earth X, and we find out it's basically an Earth where the Nazis won World War II.
Which we've done before, like in the Arrowverse and stuff.
And the big twist was that Chris didn't realize it because he was so dialed into his dad and his brother, he didn't really pay attention to the world around him.
You know what? Except for the giant mural of Hitler, I mean, there's no excuse for not noticing that. I mean, I can almost get him not noticing because since his dad was such a racist, there wouldn't have been people of color around when he was younger. So
right,
automatically set off any bells in his head, like, oh hey, this seems different. No,
you know, it's kind of like it's similar how I grew up. My dad was in the military, and we lived by military bases, and I got very accustomed to hearing planes and jets and stuff fly over. And now, if we're out and about and a plane flies by or a jet like is in the air or whatever, I don't react to it, even though it's not a constant thing because I grew up so much just with that sound that it still feels normal. So I could, like you said, I could see him not really thinking about it because he's used to maybe the imagery at home. He's used to like how it is when he was around his dad. But the other thing is he's so tunnel visioned by I have a dad that's good and a brother, you know. And the other thing is this universe, let's look at this. Chris was a D-bag. Earth 2 Chris was a D-bag.
He might have been the worst one out of the whole family.
I think he was. And I think Keith was the second worst one. Because I think Keith was more aligned with the Nazis than Augie.
It's hard to tell just because once he finds out about his brother's death, yeah, he's just off the rails. But
he's also the one that's like, a black. She got like one got out, you know, and like starts chasing it down. But I think the real interesting is, do you guys consider this Augie to be a good person or what? Like,
I mean, even the way he said it, I think as circumstances allowed him to be. And again, we're on Nazi world, so I don't know how much leeway to give him. But I mean, him and the brother, I mean, they gunned down those cops when the Peacemaker and Hardcore were surrounded.
Yeah, they had no problem with that because the cops are all Nazis and everything, which is interesting when you think about like Argus, like with Amelia working for Argus and stuff like that. Like it's probably even more, you know, Nazi based.
Mm-hmm.
But I think about like, you know, everything Augie was saying.
Well, yeah, I think Hardcore called him out and he's like, oh, your system's perfect. He's like, I do what I can. I can't fix this world, but you know, I do the little things that I can do.
I look at Augie not in so much good or bad. I look at him as more just he's a foil for the rest of the 11th Street kids because they're so critical of him not doing something to bring down the Nazis. And he's like, what are you guys doing? I'm sure your world's perfect and you right every little wrong. And there's Economos and Harcourt who were, you know, bureaucrats running the Suicide Squad.
And I think that's what helps Lee take that next step of thinking of creating Checkmate. You know, of what to do, because I also think about like Augie, like if you look at it, like he also is so much more of like um the you're looking at like the things that we go through in the world, like we as people, that's how we kind of are. Like we know there's a lot of bad injustice stuff and we do what we can, what's in front of us, but we're not all like suited up fighting the system.
I was gonna say he can't fight the system, but he can kill giant kaijus.
He doesn't agree with what's happening or what's around him, but he's surviving. I mean, what does that say about to us as the world that we live in? Don't have to answer it, but just you can think about it,
I don't know if he's a good man, but I would say he's definitely a better man than Chris's actual father was.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And he even says like he met his other before in there.
He said they seemed like there's something wrong with him. Yeah.
And I think, other Augie would go into the Earth too, and he'd love it because it's everything he wants.
Oh yeah, he's a giant racist. So yeah, that Earth would have been great. He would have loved it.
But I think, Augie too is actually the voice of reason about the whole situation, of what happened. And like he actually made a connection with Peacemaker.
He was going to let them go.
Yeah.
And then
that was this thing, was get them. We need to get them back to the portal once they're all here.
They killed this Chris killed his son, and he was still willing to let them go.
And he didn't even say anything negative to Leota. Like he wasn't against her or anything. Like, so that really showed like he was a different. Then of course Vigilante breaks in and knifes him, and then Keith goes crazy, and
then they all start like stabbing him and attacking him until Chris screams, "Get off him!"
And then I love that Harcourt was going to kill him so that he wouldn't come after Chris to protect Chris. Which, and there's some really great character moments and acting in this season, which I appreciate. But then there's some stuff besides kind of helping adjust to where the DC universe is, like in the first episodes where we see the Justice Gang. And I'm just going to throw this there for anyone over on Capes and Lunatics. My man Phil here just did an interview with the White Rabbit.
The White Rabbit, yep.
The moose, the camel toe herself.
Oh God.
But we see Green Lantern and Hawkgirl with Maxwell Lord at the beginning, and it's interesting because the season starts with Peacemaker thinking himself more of a hero and that he wants to be in the Justice Gang, and then it ends. Well, it doesn't end but like when we get to the end, he's ready to lock himself in prison because he knows that that's where he feels where he belongs. Just character growth from him. But we see the connective tissues to the DC universe, which I like. I like the continuity build. I like how it, really helps connect to the Suicide Squad and Superman. I would have liked a Superman cameo as far as just like maybe like him on TV or something, like when we're walking through
the movie.
Yeah, kind of like a reverse of the movie where, Peacemaker was on TV, but like there's like, a news report of people like, and Superman was spotted, blah, 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 blah. And then like Peacemaker just switches the TV off or something, just kind of like something like that, or, something like footage they could have shot real easily like that. It is interesting that the Justice Gang, Mr. Terrific wasn't there with them. I think there's more to say about that. That he wasn't, part of that group that was interviewing new members.
A quick cameo from him too, when they needed help, like, opening the portal to Earth X. I mean,
but that's the thing. Like, I thought about that, but the thing like with that is, if you look at how Rick and the Secretary of Defense talking Superman, they're talking about how basically the metahumans, the Justice Gang, including interfering at the end of Superman, shows that they're standing up to the government and the authority, and they're not going to mess with they're not going to be part of what the government is. So Mr. Terrific wouldn't have helped them in the first place. So Rick went out of desperation to Lex Luthor, who pointed him to, Sydney. and Otis, and then that female. So, but I mean, we got some great stuff this season though with Rip Jagger. We found out that Judo's master's name is Rip Jagger.
I think that's even for the comic.
Yeah, I think so.
I love that he rescues Leota in the pool.
The pool scene's the best.
It was awesome. And I love how he even covers for them when, they come out of the portal and Rick says, "Is that how it happened, Rip?" And he's like, "Yep."
Well, he's one of them now. He's part of Checkmate.
I do love that he's part of Checkmate. I do think it's interesting that when they're exploring the other worlds,
Judo Master's wearing his Judo Master suit under the the suit, other suit, yeah.
And like they're not going into these worlds like with like heavy armor on. They're just like in light hazmat suits, and they're not going in like with soldiers. You know what I'm thinking? You think
or
you'd
any
open
big weapons? They basically seem like they have like pistols, yeah.
Right. Like you think you'd go in with like a team with like some guns. I mean, Flag was basically sending them to their death.
Well, that's when at least it's most of this season. You could have said, okay, I kind of get where Rick Flag's coming from because this man, Peacemaker did kill his son. But once he stops caring about, oh yeah, people are dying as you're sending them through these portals, that's when, it's like, what, this.
That's when. Yeah.
Unless it is Lex, but again, a lot of those things seem like it's Lex, and again, unless maybe he just did it to throw people off the scent, but the final part with the between Rick Flag Sr. and what he does to Chris, I'm like, okay, I thought this was Lex, but it just seems very personal.
Yeah, exactly. And I would it just, I know we're jumping all over the place, but like it does seem personal. And
the ending did, which confused me because I was like, okay, I can almost see this being like somehow, those last couple episodes, but then I was like, yeah, that ending seems very personal.
But he feels like Lex would do it anyways because he has to convince people that he is Flag.
Yes, yeah. But I just feel like he would do it and not be like, oh, this is for my son, you SOB and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler and I have talked before, and specifically Creature Commandos, that like sometimes Gunn goes for morally gray people a little too much in his stuff. Like, oh, they're not wholly good, they're not wholly bad. And then with his like comments on Rick Flag, like, oh, like I never said he was a good guy. Like he just doesn't give us enough connective tissue to like go from like, okay, he's the assumed protagonist of Creature Commandos to by the end of Peacemaker, he's just acting like a straight up villain. Like
right
there, it's like such a tonal shift from like one scene in the finale to the next scene in the finale that it's just weird.
Unless it's the whole thought of revenge, because in Creature Commandos he doesn't know who killed his son, and that's kind of out of his head, kind of. But yeah, here he knows who it is, and now he has that mission.
And that's where I'm saying like we wasted time in other spots. So let's talk about, so my buddy Brian, like I said, he sent me his notes and everything. He said he feels like one of the things that was introduced in this season, in this series, was the red. And that was the whole stuff with Eagly, was introducing the red. But I don't feel that was the red. And I feel like the whole stuff with Red Saint Wild hunting Eagly and all that was wasted time.
Yeah. A lot of them trying to be funny, which I felt Michael Rooker's character was like completely comedic relief and stuff.
Right. But I feel like, we got some funny stuff from like Economos and like that. But you're going to give me that, and then you're going to give me the finale with so many questions about like characters like Flag turning to where I don't feel like I really understand what just happened.
Would you say it's uneven pacing of the season?
Oh yeah, the season is totally uneven because it feels like I had a really strong ending and a good beginning, and then I didn't know how to get there, so I stretched out some stuff in the middle to have enough material to make a season.
I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's Gunn being in charge of the company he's making a product for. So it gives him the freedom to lean into some of his bad habits of like, I think this is really funny, and so I'm going to stretch it out. And my buddy Rooker, I mean, he talked about Rooker. They cast another actor and it just wasn't working, so they brought in Rooker. So it's not like it was for him, but like, oh, I'm going to let Rooker come in and work, and we're just going to drag out this joke of this, cultural appropriation. And Eagly is a god now.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not really sure, but
Like the god of the Eagles or something.
yeah, the Prime Eagle, and like I mean, I really liked. I guess so Gunn stated that his original draft ended with with checkmate and then walking out and everything with checkmate, and that talking with Peter Safran and stuff is when they ended up doing this, finishing it out with Peacemaker being thrown into the world. And I'm just kind of like, okay. I feel like if what do you call it? If we had a Peacemaker season 3 coming, I would have been more okay with this finale. But without having like a clear understanding of where this whole, like where checkmate's going to go or where this is going to go, I feel like this finale leaves me very frustrated.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, episode 7 was so good, and the people online have been saying, the reaction to the finale was just, it seems like James Gunn was more interested in setting up future plot lines than like tying up like a season.
Yeah, like if they had, I think I've been okay if it had just been them walking out as checkmate, and then like if there was a line where, it had been like bring me Peacemaker, or something like that. We're gonna test this portal or something. I think I would have been like, okay, but because that would have been like the cliffhanger of oh no, but then they do this and then nothing.
Or it's like, stay tuned for wherever he's going to show up next.
Peacemaker will return in,
The movie or show or whatever, yeah.
Which
and
in itself is a bit jarring, because how are they going to make anything with the 11th Street Gang work in a Superman movie?
exactly. You might get cameos, but that's really it. You're going to get like, they might pop up or like there's going to be a reference to checkmate. But I really don't see.
Unless they do their own show, which again, I wonder if they're doing that just because Cena will have very limited time on it.
Maybe. And just have them like going to hunt and find out where he's at.
Like them trying to find him, and then maybe he shows up in the finale or something if they find him at that there.
I mean, because Gunn said that the Waller show is on like hold right now because they haven't really got the scripts to make it work. And I wonder, like, you just bring Waller back in as part of like, she comes to help Leota,
Yeah,
like,
just because 2 flags off the reservation, yeah.
Yeah, like, I think that is more probable, and so I don't know. The finale, like, I don't mind that it's very character driven, like with everybody. I've been okay with that. I just really hate that we don't really have an idea of what's happening next.
it almost seems like such a ploy because it's like, well, we're probably going to tie this up, but you don't know where, so you have to watch everything we put out now.
I mean, I'm already going to do that, but
yeah, but I mean, some of the casual fans might be like, really?
But I would have liked a better, more like contained series, and maybe I'll feel a bit different after I go back through and watch it all over again. I do like the continuity continuation. I do like, we have a better sense of when things happen. I do like that we saw character growth from Chris Smith.
The character growth is great, and I really like it. Like, I don't want my C+ grade to be like super negative because I think the character stuff is great. There's the scene in what would it be, episode 6, where Harcourt's trying to convince Chris to come back, and like they turn in some, award-worthy performances.
Yeah, me too.
There are some great individual scenes in this. For me, it's just like, I don't even want to say like a montage of Vidge and Peacemaker like being themselves in the finale after they form Checkmate, or like just. It's such a, like, I think of other movies or shows like where the hero doesn't want to be a hero anymore. Spider-Man 2 or Deadpool 2, like at some point they are the hero again. And they realize that's what they need to be. And like we never get that. Like we just get him accepting that he, I would say, is worthy of love and being loved by his friends. And that's like the big, oh, he's back to being himself moment.
Yeah. And I would have liked if he would have come out like in his own like new Peacemaker outfit. Like he made something a little bit different for himself.
He said he wanted to bring the peace cycle back through the portal while they were there.
I just, something like you said, like where it really comes up.
Yeah, and like even those two, like Chris and Harcourt when on Earth X, when they're in Argus and they're talking, that is a good scene too. Character development wise, and because she's another one, because that's I don't know if that's what Gunn's going for, is they're so right for each other because she has issues like opening up, and she probably doesn't see herself any more worthy of love than Chris does.
Exactly.
Because she, that one part when she says she's such a mess, and he's like, I don't care.
Exactly. He, I don't know, one thing is, I don't consider the Suicide Squad and Suicide Squad to be together. I know he mentions that he was dating June, but that's just a Rick Flag thing, like it doesn't mean it's the same June setup from Suicide Squad. So the fact that we see that Flag was dating someone and then still had, this friends with benefits with Hardcore, was interesting. I think I would have preferred it if Flag was single and just had a friends with benefits relationship with her, but he wanted more and it just wasn't working out, because of her. So I don't know, because you want to kind of make Ricky look better than his dad. But at the same time,
but I think they did it the way they did it, maybe just because it's like no matter what, she wouldn't have wanted a relationship because she's probably actively avoiding relationships. And
exactly, but you just could have made Ricky look better than, hey, he's cheating on his girlfriend.
Crazy magical girlfriend.
And his we see how we know how his dad is, bouncing from younger woman to younger woman.
That was the weird thing, is like when they showed him like talking, like flashback talking to her at the funeral and stuff, and oh, call me Rick and stuff. I was getting weird vibes. I'm like, is he like trying to hit on her?
Yeah, I was wondering, he is General Rick Flag.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that he didn't show up at his son's funeral memorial in uniform,
Hmm.
like full on uniform. And we could have gotten a really great, that'd been an awesome place to like get a Sam Lane cameo also,
Hmm.
like two generals together.
But yeah, I thought maybe he was hitting on her, but then once we got to the end of the season, I'm like, oh, he was just using her to get the find out who killed Rick Jr.
Exactly. I do like that Eagly hugged Economos though.
Mhm.
I think Economos grew the most into this season, trying to just be a better person, like how he was, trying to protect them by still working for Argus.
Mhm. Well, yeah, I mean, Gunn even said, yeah, he threw in that scene with Eagly and Economos just to show, yeah, Eagly's going to be taken care of. He's.
And they all like they care about each other, like
Mhm.
so.
Hey, you want to know a fun fact about spiders?
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, do you know anything about spiders? Yeah.
Then we got Tim Meadows' character.
But see that he comes off as just like a dillweed.
Well, yeah,
And
he was like in the finale, he was telling that embarrassing story about what the one guy, and then once he gets killed, yeah, you could tell he was like broken up about it.
he was because like we were literally seeing all their people die. And you could tell he also wasn't a bad dude because like when Economos books Peacemaker, and he's like, you did the right thing.
Hmm.
And that's why I like that he decided to go with them, um, you know, into
All the portals and stuff.
yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I wasn't sure if he got ordered to do that or not. Maybe Flag thought he was expendable too, but no, he just has a little bird blindness. That's all.
That was
Tim Meadows' character too. I don't want to say is weird, but like it's interesting. They said they tested 1,000 actors for that role, which the fan theory online is that he's Martian Manhunter. Because
yeah.
why else would you test 1,000 actors for that role?
Means he has to make a big turn somewhere.
Yeah, so to me, he's more. I mean, he's got a lot of gun-isms in that character, but like it's a really. I kept waiting after finding out that when they talked about him in the early post-episode interviews, it's like, okay, so what's the point of this character? It feels like he's got a bigger role going forward than you guys are letting on.
I mean, yeah, like it just he just like at first just like something there, and you're like, okay, are we spinning our wheels with this character wasting time, or are we really doing something? I don't know. I'm gonna watch it again. At some point I'm just gonna kind of sit back, but I just feel like when it ended, I don't feel like I had the hype that like I had when the first season ended. And with Peacemaker being stranded and then not really getting a sense of where we'll see and what will happen to resolve this. And I mean, it's been a success. The show, it's not like this show is not doing well.
Oh yeah, I think they said. I mean, it was streaming. The show did good. Like, what was it HBO Max? I think. Yeah, the movie of the year was like Superman, and then this was the series. So.
And I'm really looking forward to Supergirl because if for me to feel like the DCU is really going to do well and thrive, I need to see some other property that's not just James Gunn. I need to see, something that is by other creatives in the universe, because right now it's just all the same old James Gunn stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you see the crazy they cannot be true theories? Fake rumors people have been throwing out online.
I don't which ones? Because there's
Yeah,
so
You
much.
got to be more specific.
Well, no, they're false just because they're like, oh, hey, Rooker's has been cast to play Damian Wayne.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw one. It was like Sean Gunn's gonna be Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Although I do like Gunn did confirm that Sean Gunn's going to be like the Justice League International Max Lord and not, hey, shoot Blue Beetle in the head, Max Lord.
Well, I mean that makes more sense. I mean, I'm really interested to see like if the Justice Gang goes off and kind of becomes its own, thing, and then we still get the Justice League, at some point. I don't know. Like I said, I want more things to happen, but it's like right now I feel like the pacing is not too slow. It's just I don't want anything announced until they're actually making it. Because he said, "Oh, we had some things announced, but they're not like the Swamp Thing. That's not really moving as fast and as well as we had hoped. We have other things that are moving forward that." And he did. I just remember this. Gunn did say that Frank Grillo is in a big unannounced DC project. So I wonder if there will be like a Checkmate movie or something.
And I mean, Lanterns is still, I think, finally supposed to come out next year.
Yeah, it comes out like January, February of 2026. And I'm excited for Lanterns.
I did see, I don't know if you saw them, 2 little tidbits that came out about Lanterns this week where it's going to be about the investigation of Alan Scott's murder, I think is what I saw. And then he said it ties into Salvation at some point.
Oh.
So, they're just, like, it's not that the pacing is too slow. They, I think, shot their load too early by announcing a ton of projects.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, how many rumored Batman castings have there been so far?
I would not have announced Batman the Brave and the Bold until I actually had the script.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing is like he keeps saying, like, we're not going to do anything until we have a script. Well, there's been rumors that there's been changes made, to the idea of what Batman the Brave and the Bold was going to be. And I'm just kind of like, okay.
Not only that, you can't say you're like suddenly fast tracking Wonder Woman and then like we're not going to cast her until we have a script and a director. And it's like, okay, but you just told us like this is fast tracked and happening as soon as possible, and you expect the DC fans to sit here and not be like, who's going to play the role,
right?
Or not even acknowledge like, oh yes, like we've started light searching or casting the net, whatever industry term they want to throw out.
I would rather them just cast her and she appears in something and surprises all of us. I want to be surprised again with stuff and not know everything ahead of time. But yeah, I think the problem is the pacing, is like everything that he announced. The Authority movie is not, like he said, is not working out like they thought. Like they're kind of pulling back on that.
They're probably worried about Authority just because it's like, the mainstream audience, anyone who hasn't read a comic, are they going to be confused? Are they going to be like, who are these people?
Well, my thing is with the Authority is just do a storyline with the Authority, but kind of blend it with like the Elite. Kind of make the Authority kind of like the Elite and do a kind of a blend of the Authority and everything, and do that type of a story for a third Superman movie. Kind of a whatever happened to Truth and Justice.
Yeah, but if you're going to do that, I feel like you have to build up the Justice League first before you're like, oh, these are the harder versions.
Yeah, you do. And that's the thing go ahead, Levi.
I was going to say, I think that goes back to like what we talked about when we did our Superman big review is like we get dropped into this universe and we're told Batman exists, Wonder Woman's here, we've got the Lanterns running around, but we aren't seeing them. So like there's just this big like, what is going on here? Like at least with Iron Man or even Man of Steel, like okay, this is an Iron Man movie, and then at the end of it you find out there's a bigger universe. Or Man of Steel kind of lays the ground. If you want to go that direction, you could go that direction. Like this, we're just launched in. Metahumans have been a thing for 300 years, and you're gonna see 4 of them for the next 3 years.
Yeah. You know, I mean, how easy is it, like I said, to have like little cameos of something on TV, you know, when you're like listening to the news in the background of like on the show of just like teasing things. Also,
Do you think they're playing it cautious though, where it's like, yeah, let's not drop in like a ton of Easter eggs for characters we haven't introduced yet, because then if something happens 2, 3, 4 years down the line, people are gonna be like, well, that doesn't make sense because you said something here, but then the
exactly.
this direction.
And that's why, like, if you listen to James Gunn's podcast, where he did like all of season 1 of Peacemaker about what's canon, what's not canon and stuff, even some of the stuff he hasn't quite figured out yet. So it still tells you like they're still working on it, and you just got to kind of roll with it. But
I mean, that's the danger jumping into something. Thought we're already 3 years into this thing, where it's like, well, okay, well, who's shown up already? Who hasn't shown up already?
right, exactly. Especially like some of the name drops that happen, and then the people that we see, like, because technically, you already have Michael Rooker's already played 2 characters, Sean Gunn's already played 2 characters, Nathan Fillion's played 2 characters, TDK, and then Green Lantern. We have Maxwell Lord and what do you call it? Calendar Man. I also think that there could have been some fun things that have happened when they opened the doors to the other Earths. We could have got something.
Some Easter egg or something.
Some Easter egg about the multiverse, but I guess they just really didn't want to hit with the multiverse.
Or again, it's just it's like, is this the right time to introduce stuff? Or I get.
So I don't know. I enjoyed it, but it just
I just can't wait till we see Peacemaker again. He's got the big beard and the ripped up Foxy Shazam shirt.
Yeah. He's got and I was like, the sound in the world, I was like, is this gonna be like a Dinosaur Island or some type world?
Yeah, or just like some kind of alien monsters or something.
Well, I saw one person talking. There's a version of Salvation where it's the training planet for the new gods. It's like, is this a really weird backdoor way to like bring in Orion as kind of like the gateway to something like that?
I think whatever it's gonna be, like it pans out to be, is gonna be it's nothing as straightforward like the comics. It's all taking the comics and remixing it and being inspired by ideas. So nothing's ever going to be like, oh, this is exactly how it is in the comics. When it comes to some of these bigger ideas, especially the characters and stuff like Peacemaker that aren't top tier characters that we know. Like Superman, you can only do so much little changes to that world without it really, falling apart for you. Any other thoughts on Peacemaker? I mean, we could probably go for longer, but I think we kind of hit some of the bigger strokes.
Yeah, I think we got it.
I mean, I liked Peacemaker. My buddy Mike, he sent me a thing he really liked. He was really happy with Peacemaker. He's excited about it, and I'm glad that he enjoyed it as much as he did. See if I can pull up Brian's notes real quick, make sure I hit all of his points he was sharing with me yesterday.
I just remember during right before when the first season started, I had zero expectations for this, and then I watched the first episode or two, and I'm like, okay, I'm here for this.
I think it's a great example of Cena's growth as an actor from
yeah,
season 1 to season 2.
Oh yeah, he's having a hell of a year. I mean, between his retirement tour and WWE, and then even Gunn says Cena really stepped up his acting.
So Brian says, of course, the looks that they found the black hole, maybe where Ultraman went, in one of those photos.
You mean when he's Bizarro now?
Yeah, that's what he should have been in the first place.
Well, that's what people were saying. Maybe he gets crushed or something in that black hole, and
he should have just been Bizarro from the beginning, and not even whatever they did. So we got a zombie world. We got the home of the imps. I don't really feel like that was the home of the imps, and I don't know how no one made a Candyland joke.
Because they're a little too busy getting
when they first
by the end.
That, or I think Gunn even said on the podcast, he's like they weren't sure legally if they could say Candyland.
Because I feel like if I would have opened the door, that's the first thing I would have thought of.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like
he even said in the script he called it Candy World or something because they weren't sure if they could actually use the name Candyland.
And then we're not sure who all lived, but maybe Titties did. We saw her for a second. Yeah.
Hi guys.
Hey,
what's up?
So, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. And I don't know. I'm gonna rewatch it and give it more thought. Final thoughts. Levi, I will start with you.
John Cena and Jen definitely brought their A game towards the end of the season. Cena, I think, really grew by leaps and bounds the last few years as an actor, and honestly, it makes me excited to see what else he's in. Don't know how Peacemaker fits into the DCU now, but
I mean, yeah, I like it. Again, it's Cena and everyone else stepped up their acting game, and I think through the whole both seasons, there's more good than bad. Otherwise, we wouldn't be like, oh, when why are you ending it like this? When are we going to see Peacemaker again or the other cast?
Yeah. But I really want to see where they go with Checkmate, and I really want to see more of these characters. I don't want to have to wait 3 years.
Yeah.
A lot happened in between those years from season 1 to season 2. And like we said, it's like making a movie. You wait 2 to 3 years between movies and then you get your next movie. And that's kind of what these streaming series are basically doing. And it's not TV.
Because it was how many years between season 1 and season 2?
3.
3, yeah.
And so...
And they announced season 2 while season 1 was airing. So it's not even like it was a surprise pickup or... It was known for a while. So
it's just because that's not how these streaming television shows and stuff are made. But Phil, where can people check you out and find you online?
Well, you can always check me out on the Capes and Lunatics podcast. We also have a YouTube channel where you can see all of our episodes and all of us on video. We have a Patreon where you can get exclusive uncensored episodes. And Tyler was nice enough to point out, yes, I did talk to Bray Noel just recently on a recent episode, the White Rabbit from the first episode this season, and she's a very nice person. And
that's the first Batman villain other than Clayface that we got in the DC universe.
Mm-hmm. And she's down for more, so if they want to use, they use that character.
All right, Levi, final words to the audience today.
Don't let us being a little down on this season of Peacemaker deter you. It still was a great ride. And like Phil said, our disappointment is more an indication of how much we enjoyed it, I think, overall. And we're left wanting more, just not in the way we probably wanted to be.
Just the uncertainty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, if it hadn't been that this season was, the first season, Gunn was smart when he made it. It was very secluded. It was very its own thing to itself. This season is very much tied to the DC universe. If it had not been now part of the DC universe, maybe it would have been different because it would have been a little bit more smaller as far as some of the beats and things. But
I wonder if there were some of the notes from like higher ups that tie it in more, because I think Gunn even said, yeah, Earth X Keith was supposed to get killed at the end of episode 7, and they might have ended it on the walking on a checkmate originally. So
yeah, I think they should have killed Earth's Keith. I thought, for the longest time, I thought it was going to be Vigilante was going to end up killing Keith, protecting Leota, protecting Ads, because from Keith as he was trying to kill her. So
I guarantee you, that version of Keith is going to show up again somewhere. Why keep him alive if you're not going to use him again?
Right. It's just one of those threads.
Yeah.
So, let's get out of here, guys. You guys have a good night. Thanks for being here. And remember,